Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight, where we get you the day's top stories from India and across the world. Monday evening, there's lots that's making news. I'm Tracy Shilshi. I'll be getting all of that in the next 30 minutes. But first, the headlines. Vijay Mallya resigns from his Rajya Sabha seat, says in his resignation letter that he does not want his name to be further dragged in the mud. The chair invokes Rule 255 against MP Sukhendu Roy, asking him to withdraw from the House for the day as TMC raises the VVIP chopper scam issue in Rajya Sabha. The upper house is also disrupted after Congress demands Prime Minister's response on the CAG report on Gujarat government's investment in the KG Basin gas project. Centre to appeal to Supreme Court to reconsider its ban on diesel cabs as traffic chaos mars Monday morning in Delhi. And the US calls for countrywide cessation of hostilities in Syria after fierce bombing kills hundreds in Aleppo province. Top story this evening, independent MP and liquor baron Vijay Mallya has resigned from Rajya Sabha. His resignation comes just a day before the Ethics Committee of the Upper House was set to recommend his expulsion. In his resignation letter to Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari, Mallya said he does not want his name and reputation to be further dragged in the mud. The ethics panel of Rajya Sabha had unanimously decided on the 25th of April meeting that Mallya should no longer remain a member of the House and was planning to recommend his expulsion in its next meeting on the 3rd of May. Mallya, who faces a case of loan default of over 9,400 crore rupees, is in the UK, and the Indian government is closer to initiating his deportation despite him saying that he is not returning to India anytime soon. His passport has already been revoked.
I believe an opinion was conveyed to the chairman of the Ethics Committee, Rajya Sabha, that Mr. Mallya has decided to resign and he will accordingly write to the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. But there is nothing official about it yet. This is what is being considered. If that is the case, then yes, Ethics Committee's jurisdiction does not go beyond the house of the Rajya Sabha.
The Ethics Committee की बैठक में आम सहमति से उनकी मेमोरी लेने का तय हो गया था और उनको नोटिस दिया गया था, चूँकि नेचुरल जस्टिस होना चाहिए। वो जानते थे कि कल की मीटिंग में उनका निपटारा हो जाएगा, उनकी मेमोरी ले ली जाएगी, तो उन्हें चालाकी से इस्तीफा दे दिया।
Meanwhile, staying with the proceedings in Rajya Sabha, TMC MP Sukhendu Roy was asked by the chair to withdraw himself from the House for the day. Rule 255 was invoked against Roy as he raised the AgustaWestland helicopter scam issue in question hour, despite his notice being rejected during 0 hour. Here are the details.
Please sit down. Sit down. As the House assembled for question hour on Monday, TMC MP Sukhendu Roy demanded that Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar make an urgent statement on the AgustaWestland scandal. This despite the fact that the Defence Minister is expected to place facts in Parliament on the multi-crore VVIP chopper deal on Wednesday.
House is adjourned for 30 minutes.
Repeated pleas by the chair to allow question hour to proceed went unheeded as Roy upped the ante against the erstwhile UPA dispensation. As Roy refused to relent, Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari invoked Rule 255 against the agitating member.
I give you the choice. Do you want the rule to be invoked against you? Will you please sit down? I asked Mr. Sukhendu Roy, I invoke Rule 255. Could he please leave the chamber?
Union Minister Nitin Gadkari urged the chair to also take action against Congress members protesting against the alleged irregularities of investment by the Gujarat State Petroleum Corporation. The chair, however, clarified that Rule 255 applies to one member And if the government wants action, it can bring a separate motion against the Congress members. Later, TMC members staged a walkout. Earlier in the day, during 0 hour, Roy demanded suspension of business for discussion on the matter. However, Deputy Chairman PJ Kurian said there was no rule for suspension of business during 0 hour.
The notice is under examination of the Honorable Chairman. After that, coming to the well and shouting slogan is not justifiable, not acceptable. I already said, if notice is given, Honorable Chairman is considering it. Then what is the point in shouting? What are you going to achieve? I don't agree with this.
Under general rules of procedure of the upper house, Rule 255 implies that the chairman may direct any member whose conduct is, in his opinion, grossly disorderly to withdraw immediately from the council. Under general rules of procedure of the upper house, Rule 255 implies that the chairman may direct any member whose conduct is, in his opinion, grossly disorderly to withdraw immediately from the council. Any member so ordered to withdraw shall absent himself during the remainder of the day's meeting. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, while the uproar over the AgustaWestland chopper deal continued in Parliament, outside the CBI today summoned former Air Chief SP Tyagi. He appeared before the investigating officials for a fresh round of questioning, which comes in the wake of the Milan court order indicating massive corruption in the deal. Tyagi's name figures in the Italian court order multiple times.
Faced with allegations of corruption in the 3,600 crore rupee AgustaWestland VVIP chopper deal, former Air Chief SP Tyagi arrived for questioning at the CBI headquarters in New Delhi on Monday. The investigating agency called him to examine his role in the multi-crore VVIP chopper deal amid reports that he had met AgustaWestland middlemen 7 times between 2004 and 2007. The CBI is also trying to get details from Tyagi on who exactly received the alleged kickbacks to influence the contract for a dozen VVIP choppers. The Milan Court of Appeals, which is the equivalent of an Indian High Court, has already given details of how alleged bribes were paid by helicopter maker Finmeccanica and AgustaWestland to Indian officials through middlemen to clinch the deal. The order does also mention SP Tyagi's name at several points. The CBI has registered a case against Tyagi and 13 others, including his cousins as well as European middlemen. Pressure is now mounting on the government to extract the truth at the earliest.
If any truth is to be arrived at by our agencies, they will have to question Tyagi ji. And Tyagi would be given an opportunity to explain each and every circumstance that may appear against him.
CBI, ED अपना काम निर्भयता पूर्वक करे और जो तथ्य हैं वो देश के सामने आए, इस पर किसी को कोई ऐतराज नहीं है।
इसका आप लोग इसमें ध्यान दो और रिजल्ट पे आ जाओ और बता दें। त्यागी को करना ही पड़ेगा क्योंकि वो तो चीफ था उस टाइम पे, तो करे।
The allegation against SP Tyagi is that he had reduced flying ceiling of the helicopter from 6,000 meters to 4,500 meters so that AgustaWestland could be included in the bids. He, however, denies the allegations and claims the decision to reduce the ceiling was taken by a group of senior officials in the then government. Tyagi had earlier been questioned back in 2013, but the fresh round of examination is the first after the Italian court order. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the opposition Congress sought to corner the government in Rajya Sabha on Monday, demanding the Prime Minister's response on the CAG report, pointing out anomalies in Gujarat's KG Basin gas project. The government, however, termed the move as the party's attempt to deflect the attention from the AgustaWestland issue. As Congress escalated the offensive against the government, the proceedings of the House were disrupted several times, leading to several adjournments as well through the day.
CAG's report questioning Gujarat government's investment into the KG Basin gas block triggered protests in the upper house on Monday. Leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad asserted that oil and gas exploration is a national issue and irregularities pointed out by the CAG must be discussed in the House.
तो मैं कहना चाहता हूं ये स्टेट सब्जेक्ट नहीं है। ऑयल एंड गैस एक्सप्लोरेशन गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का सब्जेक्ट है। फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस और बैंक्स ये नेशनल सब्जेक्ट है और केजी बेसिन जो है ये इंटर स्टेट मैटर है।
Leader of the House, Arun Jaitley, however, snubbed all accusations and asserted that CAG reports on state accounts are examined by public accounts committees of assemblies and there was no convention to discuss those in Parliament. He also alleged that the government was voicing dissent to ward off the AgustaWestland heat.
अगर आपने ये परंपरा डाल दी तो जो यहाँ पे रिपोर्ट्स आया करेंगी और यहाँ की पीएसी के सामने होंगी वो फिर राज्यों की विधानसभाओं में उस पर चर्चा होगी। कम से कम इस देश का जो संघीय ढांचा है उसको बरकरार रखिए। जो राज्य की पीएसी के सामने विषय है केंद्रीय संसद उस पर चर्चा नहीं करनी चाहिए।
The Congress, however, remained defiant, asserting that the issue was repeatedly being raised by the party irrespective of the AgustaWestland controversy. CPM MP Tapan Sen also voiced concern on the loss of public money.
It is 5 days ago and repeatedly our members, Jairam Ramesh and others, they have been giving the notices. We have been giving and about the discussion that what was raised today, we have ourselves accepted it.
Even after counting upon all those risk, matter of element of risk, the manner the KG basin offshore exploration is being handled, it's another aspect is just added by these GSPC.
Deputy Chairman PJ Kurin tried to broker truce and said that the Congress's notice seeking a discussion on the issue was under examination of the chairman. The government also said that it was ready to discuss the issue if allowed by the chairman.
Chairman के ऊपर ये छोड़ दिया जाए, जो वो निर्णय करेंगे उस निर्णय से हम सब लोग बंधे हुए हैं और हम आपको और आपके माध्यम से हम ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स को विश्वास दिलाते हैं कि जो भी इस संबंध में चेयरमैन साहब का निर्णय होगा उसको हम सब लोगों के लिए मानेंगे.
However, the pre-lunch session of the House was disrupted as the Congress stormed into the well and raised the pitch against the government.
House is adjourned for up to 12:30. Up to 12:30.
The Comptroller and Auditor General had rapped the Gujarat State Petroleum Corporation, saying the investment of Rs 19,576 crores in the KG block project remains shrouded in uncertainty. The report was tabled before the Gujarat Assembly on March 31st this year. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And the Upper House also today passed the Mines and Minerals Amendment Bill 2016 unanimously, with all parties supporting it. The bill paves the way for transfer of captive mines in the country without the need for auction and will unclog a number of stuck deals in the mining sector.
The Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Bill 2016 was passed in Rajya Sabha on Monday. Mines Minister Narendra Singh Tomar hailed it as a bill in the larger interest of workers, adding that it would not benefit any industrial house. He informed the House that the bill will unclog a number of stuck deals in the mining sector.
कि अगर ये कैप्टिव माइंस की अनुमति ट्रांसफ़र की हम लोग दे देंगे तो ये जो कंपनियां एनपीए से बच सकेंगी, बैंक का जो पैसा है वो बैंक को मिल सकेगा और खनन की प्रक्रिया में किसी भी प्रकार का अवरोध खड़ा नहीं होगा और जो मजदूर कंपनी में काम कर रहा है वो कंपनी में बंद होने से बच जाएगी तो मजदूर भी निश्चित रूप से रोजगार से वंचित नहीं होगा.
Initiating the debate, Congress MP Shantaram Naik raised the issue of deprived economic conditions faced by the people working in mines in Goa. BJP's Bhupendra Yadav said the bill would benefit the states as well.
As far as transfer of mining leases is concerned, there is no transparency. There is no control of the government as a law stands today. If one leaseholder wants to transfer it in the name of another person, the required law does not bar him from doing so.
तो आप ट्रांसफ़र करेंगे, सरकार अगर आपको कैप्टिव उद्योग को चलाने के लिए अगर सरकार आपकी माइनिंग के ट्रांसफ़र की अनुमति दे रही है तो उसके लिए सरकार एक विशेष शुल्क का भी निर्धारण करेगी. इसलिए इसमें सरकार को किसी किस्म के जो राजस्व का नुकसान है वो सरकार को राजस्व का नुकसान नहीं है, बल्कि लंबे समय से जो देश के जो औद्योगिक और जो व्यापार जगत में जो एक मंदी जो आ रही है उसको बाहर निकालने का एक बहुत अच्छा रास्ता सरकार ने तय किया है.
Other members reflected on the need to improve the conditions of those working in the mines.
मिनरल का जो व्यापार है वह तेजी से बढ़े. हमारे देश में अद्भुत खनिज पदार्थ है लेकिन उसका हम सही दोहन नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. आज यही कारण है कि कहीं ना कहीं हमारी वित्तीय स्थिति में कमी आई है. अगर इन मिनरल का पूरी तरह से दोहन कर सकें और उसको हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों को रोज़गार की दृष्टि को ध्यान में रखकर उसको देने का काम करें तो इसमें और भी इजाफा होगा.
And there is a peculiar paradox. A country having enough mineral resources is considered to be very fortunate and rich. But those mineral resources are located in those geographic localities which happen to be the poorest of the lot among the entire country.
लीज राज्य सरकार द्वारा दिए गए हैं, इसलिए संबंधित राज्यों की अनुमति से भी लीज ट्रांसफर का प्रबंध होना चाहिए। हमारा दूसरा सुझाव है कि बिल में ये प्रावधान जो जोड़ा गया है कि राज्य सरकार को एक सरकारी कंपनी से लेकर किसी दूसरी सरकारी कंपनी को लीज ट्रांसफर करने का भी अधिकार होगा।
In March this year, the Cabinet had given its approval for the amendment to the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957. The amendment allows transfer of captive mining leases not granted through auction. The move will benefit banks and financial institutions and does not entail any recurring or non-recurring expenditure on the government. With Navvikram Singh, Bureau Inputs, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to other national news stories, and Union Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari convened an emergency meeting on Monday and said that the centre will appeal to the Supreme Court to reconsider its decision to ban diesel cabs. The meeting came as hundreds of taxi drivers blocked major roads in Delhi to protest against the Supreme Court decision. Massive traffic jams were reported as protesting cab drivers blocked National Highway 8 and the Ring Road.
A day after the Supreme Court's ban on plying of diesel-driven taxis in Delhi took effect, cab drivers on Monday blocked traffic in Delhi's border areas, affecting movement of traffic to and from Gurgaon and Noida. Hundreds of cab drivers blocked National Highway 8 and the Ring Road to protest against the actions of enforcement agencies following the Supreme Court order.
हम इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि हमारी रोजी रोटी छीनी जा रही है और हम लोगों को कमर्शियल व्हीकल बंद किया जा रहा है टैक्सी डीजल गाड़ी के लिए। इसलिए हम कहना चाहते हैं कि अब 5 साल का उन्होंने टैक्स ले रखा है, हम 5 साल का टैक्स भर रखे हैं, पूरा पैसा हमने सरकार को दे रखा है, उसके बावजूद हमको सरकार पागल बना रही है।
40 लाख गाड़ी है, दिल्ली पुलिस की गाड़ियां हैं, क्या वो पोल्यूशन नहीं कर रही? सिर्फ हमारी 27,000 गाड़ियां वो एनडीएमसी के ट्रक है, एमसीडी के ट्रक है, वो उनको दिखाई नहीं दे रहे। क्या सिर्फ हमारे जो अपना सेटल करा हुआ बिजनेस है वो हमारे को तंग करने के लगे हुए? हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के खिलाफ नहीं है, हम सब लेकर साथ चलने के लेकर तैयार हैं, पर सब प्राइवेट गाड़ियां भी बंद हो।
Traffic in Gurgaon too was disturbed as protesters blocked roads, shouting slogans. The cab drivers alleged that the government implemented the ban carelessly, leading to financial losses for them.
प्रोटेस्ट इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि जी इस गाड़ी को हमने भी 2-4 महीने पहले खरीदा है, ठीक है। जब वो सरकार को बंद करनी थी तो बुराड़ी में एक तो परमिट ही देना था, रजिस्ट्रेशन ही नहीं निकलवाते हो। अब ये वो यूं कह रहे हैं कि जी गाड़ी बंद हो गई, इस गाड़ी की 30,000 रुपए किस्त है, 6 फैमिली मेंबर हैं, कहाँ से पालेंगे हम? बाहर नौकरी करने जाओ 10,000 से ऊपर तनख्वाह नहीं देते, 10,000 में किराया देंगे कि बच्चों को पालेंगे, क्या करेंगे?
Commuters also had a harrowing time as the traffic chaos happened during peak office hours. Protesting cab drivers blocked traffic on the Noida side of the Delhi-Noida Direct or DND flyway, leading to massive congestion. Meanwhile, Delhi Transport Minister Gopal Rai said it was the court's directive and everyone should abide by the law.
ये सारा मामला न्यायालय के अंदर चला था। न्यायालय ने टैक्सी चालकों को भी समय दिया था, फिर एक्स्ट्रा एक महीने का समय मांगा गया था। एक महीने का समय हम लोगों ने भी कोर्ट के समय पक्ष ये रखा था कि इनको समय दिया जाए जिससे कि ये निर्णय ले सके। तो हम सबको मिलकर के सोचना है। उन टैक्सी ड्राइवरों के बच्चे भी दिल्ली में रहते हैं। दिल्ली में जिस तरह से पोल्यूशन बढ़ रहा है और हम सबकी जिंदगी पर खतरा आ रहा है, तो हम सब मिलकर के प्रयास करेंगे तभी इसका समाधान होगा। और मुझे लगता है कि इसको जो भी ड्राइवर्स हैं, जो भी ऐप बेस्ड कंपनियां हैं, वो इसको समझेंगी।
According to the Delhi Transport Department, nearly 60,000 taxis are registered in the national capital, of which 27,000 run on diesel. Around 2,000 diesel-run taxis converted to CNG in the last 2 months. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, while forest fires are spreading across Himachal Pradesh, Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar today hinted that similar fires in Uttarakhand could be man-made. He added that not a single inch of forest land would be allowed to be encroached upon or diverted for any use by anybody. Meanwhile, the fire has been somewhat brought under control, with the Indian Air Force choppers continuing to spray water to douse the blaze.
The raging fire that engulfed the forest of Uttarakhand is under control now, but a thick haze of grey smoke continues to envelop a huge area. Pauri, Nainital, Rudraprayag and Tihri are among the worst hit districts. The centre has assured full cooperation to tackle the crisis.
हमारे पास पूरा डॉक्यूमेंट्स है, सैटेलाइट इमेज से भी हमने पूरा इफेक्टेड एरिया का जांच लिया, टीम भी भेजा हुआ है, टीम लगे हुए हैं। जो टोटल 13 जिले में प्रभावित हुआ है वो आग स्प्रेड अभी नहीं हो रहे हैं, वो उसको कब्जा में और वहाँ पूरा अच्छी तरह से उसको कंट्रोल किया गया है, ऐसा रिपोर्ट आया है।
हम जो है ऐसी योजना बनाए कि इस समय तो आग नए क्षेत्रों में न फैले और दूसरा जो है दूसरी बार उन क्षेत्रों में फिर आग न लगे।
Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar has hinted the fire could have been a man-made disaster. He also said 4 people have been arrested in connection with the case.
4 लोग भी पकड़े हैं कल पौड़ी में कि जो आग लगाते हुए पाए गए, उनको भी पकड़ा है। तो ये ऐसा अगर कोई प्रयास करता है तो उसका पूरी जांच होगी और ये एक्शन हम सख्ती से लेंगे।
Thousands of firefighters have been battling round the clock to control the blaze. The Indian Air Force Mi-17 with water tanks also sprayed gallons of waters to bring the blaze under control.
Yesterday we had done some operations in the afternoon till evening, and right now today again we have come in the early morning from 6:30 onwards. We are ready. The aircrafts are ready, and we are waiting for the weather to clear up. As soon as the weather clear up, we'll take off, start carrying operation in the region of Srinagar, which is a part of Uttarakhand, and we'll try to dose the fire as early as possible.
The situation in Uttarakhand may be under control, but it is slowly spreading to Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. The fires in Uttarakhand have been burning for nearly 3 months, destroying close to 3,000 acres of forest cover so far. 7 persons have also been killed. Although the Met Department raised some hope of relief soon, predicting rain in the state in the next 24 to 48 hours. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to international news. And US Secretary of State John Kerry arrived in Geneva on Monday in an effort to salvage stumbling peace talks in Syria, even as airstrikes hit a hospital in Aleppo. Kerry called for a countrywide cessation of hostilities. Diplomatic pressure is mounting to extend a ceasefire in Syria to Aleppo province after 10 days of fierce bombing has killed hundreds of people there.
In an attempt to bolster the already fragile and partial ceasefire in Syria, US Secretary of State John Kerry held talks with UN envoy to Syria in Geneva. This even as fresh airstrikes hit Syria's Aleppo city early on Monday. Kerry also held talks with the foreign ministers of Saudi Arabia and Jordan in a stepped-up diplomatic effort to stop a surge in fighting in the country. Kerry said talks with Russia and coalition partners was getting closer to a place of understanding and renewing a ceasefire.
There are a lot of conversations taking place yesterday, the day before, today, and we're getting closer to a place of understanding. But we have some work to do, and that's why we're here.
Thank you. Kerry also hoped that a cessation of hostilities agreement would be applied throughout Syria, including in Aleppo, which has been the brunt of the increase in recent fighting.
I hope in the course of the conversations that I have here tonight, tomorrow, and the work that our teams are doing, importantly. We have teams meeting even today, tomorrow, in order to try to zero in on and pin down the modalities of reaffirming the cessation.
More than 250 civilians have died in airstrikes in Aleppo since the surge in fighting, with the latest airstrike on a hospital. Russia and Syria say the Aleppo strikes are targeting the Nusra Front, a jihadist force not party to a ceasefire agreed in February. Saudi has, however, condemned the escalation of fighting as a violation of humanitarian laws and called for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to step down.
What is happening in Aleppo is an outrage. It's a violation of all humanitarian laws. It's a crime. It's a violation of all the understandings that were reached during the Vienna process.
The Syrian government has said on Friday that it was introducing a temporary regime of calm in an area around Damascus and Latakia province. But Kerry made it clear a ceasefire brokered by the US and Russia on February 27th must also include Aleppo. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
And now let's get you some more international news updates in Global Buzz. 3 bombs went off in and around Baghdad on Monday, killing at least 14 people and wounding 41 others, including several women and children. Some of the casualties were pilgrims passing through the area on their way to the shrine. Through the shrine, in fact, there was no immediate claim of responsibility for the explosion. The bodies of 2 American climbers have been found in a glacier in the Himalayas 16 years after they were killed by a huge avalanche. Renowned mountaineer Alex Lowe had been climbing the Shisha Pangma peak in Tibet in October 1999 with camera person David Bridges when they were hit by the avalanche. The bodies were found trapped in the ice by 2 climbers last week. Greenpeace said that it is in possession of leaked documents showing a massive free trade deal between the US and European Union, which poses major risks for the climate, environment and consumer safety. According to one of the leaked documents, the US has been putting pressure on the European Union to scrap or change environmental and health legislation in trade talks. The Indonesian military is in negotiations seeking the release of 4 citizens held hostage by the Philippines-based Abu Sayyaf terror group. The 4 Indonesians were kidnapped on April 15th in the waters between Malaysia and the Philippines. 10 other hostages who were kidnapped in March by Abu Sayyaf were released and returned to Jakarta on Sunday. And now let's get you all the latest from the world of sports in Sports Beat. Indian shooters bagged 3 gold medals and a bronze on the opening day of the ISSF World Junior Cup in Germany. The Indians won a gold each in the team events of men's 25 meters standard pistol and women's 50 meters rifle thrown competitions. India also earned an individual gold medal in the men's 25 meters standard pistol competition and a bronze in the women's 50 meters rifle. The Indian team bagged 1 silver and 2 bronze medals at the Archery World Cup in Shanghai. The silver medal was secured by the Indian women's team of Deepika Kumari, Bombela Devi Laishram and Lakshmi Rani Machi. Atanu Das, Jayanta Talukdar and Mangal Singh Champia thrashed the 9th-seeded British team 6-0 to bag the bronze medal, defeating the Korean pair of Aryam Jo and Song Chol Park 5-4 in a nail-biting shoot-off. The Indian mixed pair of Deepika Kumari and Atanu Das clinched a bronze medal. Leicester City must wait at least one more day for their first ever Premier League title after drawing 1-1 with United at Old Trafford on Sunday. Claudio Ranieri's side failed to get the victory that would have brought the silverware, but they will be crowned champions on Monday if second-place Tottenham Hotspur, who trailed them by 8 points, fail to beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight from the entire team here. Good night.